Hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about 10 steps to an accountable team and organisation. Now, a statement I often hear from my clients is my team really needs to step up in the personal responsibility department. How do I make that happen? And this is a genuine challenge for people. They're there with teams, senior teams, and they want to bring accountability to that team, and they're not quite sure how to go about it. Now, that this question is typically high on the list of topics that a CEO wants to discuss with me suggests that they may need a little more time, quality mirror time as I call it, looking in the mirror, because the leader is always a role model for a culture of responsibility, a culture of accountability. You can't really ask your officers or your soldiers to do what you're not willing to do yourself. And indeed, when people see you respect the culture, they see that you're accountable, then they tend to follow through and become accountable themselves. But if you don't respect it, if the culture is not one of accountability, well then this is a hallmark of a low performing organisation. Accountability really is a defining competence, if you wish, almost of an organisation. And I'd like to read to you something that Ron Price says in The Complete Leader. He says, personal accountability is about taking responsibility not just for your efforts, but for your results. A person who is really accountable understands their job is to recognise the obstacles, figure out the puzzles, and come up with a result, not just stand up and say, I gave it my best. Now, I always found this statement, I remember the first time I read it, I found this statement very, very hard, because I said to myself, well, there's lots of things going on around me that I'm not in control of. But ultimately, this is what accountability is for, it's taking responsibility for results. So leaders are examples to people, and examples that other people follow. And when the head of any group blames or defends or denies, for example, and says it wasn't my fault, they're teaching everyone in their sphere of influence that it's okay to play the victim. That it's okay to say it's not my job, I'm not responsible, it wasn't up to me. Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach, often talks about the 4 keys of referability. Show up on time, do what you say, finish what you start, and say please and thank you. And these really are all about personal accountability. They really are. Personal accountability is a belief that you're fully responsible for your own actions and their consequences. It's a choice, a mindset, if you wish. It's sort of an expression of integrity. And some individuals exhibit it more than others, but it can and should be learned from a leader of any and every team. It is like one of the key things of leadership is to teach this and to model this for people. And I actually believe that not only is accountability the foundation for a successful business, I believe it's also the foundation or a prerequisite for happiness in all aspects of life. Now, Brian Johnson from Optimize makes a few great points on this thing of personal happiness and accountability. And I want to just read it out to you what he says. He said, here's a great discovery. All negative emotions, especially anger, depend for their very existence on your ability to blame someone or something else for something in your life that you're not happy about. It takes tremendous self-discipline to refrain from blaming others for a problem. It takes enormous self-control, he says, to refuse to make excuses. And, when you read this, you say, yeah, I get it, I understand, but how do I do it? Well, Johnson goes on to reference Albert Ellis from A Guide to Rational Living. And Ellis says the number one reason blame is so bad is because whenever we blame, we're putting control outside of ourselves. We're giving up our power. So, 10 rules, 10 steps, 10 whatever you want to build a culture of accountability. In your organisation, accountability means the deliverables are articulated with clear metrics. This is critical. If people don't know what they're supposed to do, there's no way on earth they can be accountable for it. When you check in, the person has to be able to say, yep, here's a measurable, here's the progress I have or have not made on the needle in question. So, 1, you must be personally accountable for yourself. This is absolutely the prerequisite. After that, everybody must know their deliverables, the outcomes, the results. They must set SMART goals to achieve them. You must be able to see these SMART goals, lead indicators, things they're going to do that are going to move forward and achieve those results. They must prioritise and take ownership of the workload and situations they're involved with. And they must not overcommit their time. People take on too much. They overpromise, they underdeliver. They must monitor progress. This is critical. You have to track and see what's happening. Adjust course as necessary. Fix the problems, not the blame. Give an honest assessment of performance, reflecting on results. And communicate these, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I just make one comment on the last one, the number 10 there. Communicate these, the good, bad, the ugly. Nothing inspires confidence like acknowledging failures, acknowledging things that haven't worked, things that you haven't accomplished. It gives people confidence that in fact you're dealing in reality. So 1 to 10, be accountable, deliverables, results, set SMART goals, prioritise and take ownership of the workload, don't overcommit time, monitor progress, adjust course as necessary, fix the problems, not the blame, give an honest assessment of performance reflecting on results, and communicate these, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's it. Those are my 10 steps, if you wish, my 10 guides to building personal accountability and building accountability in your team and organisation. And I hope that you find them helpful.